So it's quite unreal to hold this in my hand. Although I've been holding it for some time now, still it feels unreal because this piece of really nice engineering has been so much of our lives lately, has been so much of what we were focusing on, and to see it come together this good, that's really sick. So I'm just gonna take you through most of the things that you'll find on this prototype, and this is obviously the base for everything what is to come, so pre-production and production. But this is already so good, and we have already made such nice imagery with it that we just cannot wait to get it in your hands, to ramp up production, to do everything that we need to do to finalize it, because obviously it's not perfect yet. On the autofocus settings, on the AE, we still have to do some fine-tuning, but still we really made some great results. So I'm starting off with the most important feature of this camera, the lens. So from the start we wanted to have a real 2.8 lens. So not something that was magnified, not something that was not a pure 2.8. So to do that, we had to go for a double gauge construction. So for 6 elements in 4 groups. All these glass elements have a coating in order to make them perform in their best way. The lens is moving just like any other lens that you would find in a point and shoot based on the focus point. So if I focus closely, then the lens moves out, and if I focus infinity, the lens retracts. And that's basically what it will do always. So in the current prototype, this happens on half press. So when you half press, it will go to the position, and then when you full press, it makes the photo. But in production, we will change this to a more, I think a nicer way. And that is when you half press, it only measures, and then when you full press, it retracts to the position, or it ejects to the position and then comes back, just like you would see with any other point and shoot. Because also focusing every time that you try to focus, this costs a lot of power, and also it will drain the battery obviously, because the motor constantly has to push and pull instead of just use the sensors to measure something. So if you do that, then like I already said, you have basically 2 options. So you have a half press and you have a full press. On half press, the camera locks focus and the camera measures focus plus the exposure. So when I full press and I make the photo, it basically does whatever you want it to do, and it's make a photo. If you focus too close, then we have here on the back side a red indicator that is flashing. That is basically telling you that everything that you're trying to do, like now, is too close and cannot be focused on. If I focus on something that is in focus, then it will remain red, and with that also make you able to make a photo. Shooting right away with a blinking indicator is not going to happen. So if you want to shoot something that is too close and you press through directly, it won't make a photo, to protect you from making something that's not in focus. But if you half press and it's blinking and you decide that this is something that you want to capture because of a creative reason, then it lets you make that photo, because obviously you are the person that decides what's happening. So in this way, basically it has some things inside of the camera that basically prevent mistakes from happening, but it also is giving you the freedom to basically do what you want. But in the standard setup, you cannot change any of the exposure settings or any of the aperture settings or shutter speed settings or anything in between. Because what it does, It basically does everything for you, but the idea is that in the future we will also create some software packages that people can actually put on the camera themselves that allow them to use the camera in different ways, the way that they want. So for example, in a more professional way, so that they can actually change the aperture, or they can change the shutter speed with a different use of the buttons. Because that is something that we can do because we have added a Type-C and a USB board to the camera. So this Type-C is not there to charge this camera because this camera is charged by a CR123A battery. But what it does, it puts you in the driver's seat of whatever you want to do with it later on. Because we can do firmware updates through this Type-C, send them to you and make you basically run them. But what we also can do is we can still build new software tools and also build things for other users, like I just mentioned, and have you guys basically download it and then from there immediately put it onto the camera, in order to make this a camera that is basically for everyone the way that they want it to be. And that is something how we really merged old with new, because back in the 90s, back in the early zeros, this was not a thing that people could update their sort of firmware on demand. This was a camera that was built in a certain way, and with that it did certain things. So this is a great feature, and this is also something that we're really proud of, because I think this makes it really different and also really a good mix between technology from the past and technology from, well, now. So like I said, the battery is a CR123A, a 3-volt battery that everyone will know that uses cameras, and the door will be closed by a magnet closing. So on the prototype there's still like a magnet that you can visibly see, but in the production the magnets will be in the body, so you will not see them, but they will be clicking, well, like you just see. Then we have on the bottom of the camera a tripod screw that we also use for the strap in our case, and we have a place to put your strap on the front if you want to use a traditional strap. So we have a strap that basically can be used for many other things. That is a strap that we also have been selling for a long time already. It's our mini sling, but it has hooks, so you can use it also for different things. And we have it basically fixed to a tripod screw and have the tripod screw in there. And also that, well, like you've seen in the videos that we have posted recently, that will have a very nice way of how this camera will be on your hip. And also it will put you in the position that you can make photos right away, because basically the camera is upside down. So if you pick it up, you can make photos like that. Instead of picking it up like this, you pick it up like this. So this is basically the bottom, but then there's a whole lot of things also happening on the back. Because I just mentioned that there's two indicators. There's one indicator, which is red, that basically tells you everything about the focus. And there's a second indicator, the blue indicator on the bottom, which basically tells you about your flash. So flash is a big thing on this camera, because yes, we have chosen a very good flash, so a flash that is really, really, well, doing what you expect the flash to do, flash hard. But what we really, really don't want a flash to do is to automatically flash when we don't want to, because many of you probably have used cameras and then they want to make a quick shot and then bam, the flash goes, but it's broad daylight. So it is a miscalculation of the meter, and therefore it does something that you don't want, because the shutter speed is automatically set to 1/60th of a second, and therefore it's just not what you want, because it ruins your whole photo. So we have a dedicated toggle on the back. So in its standard position, this toggle is placed in the middle, which is auto. And in auto, you have basically automatic exposure settings, like how it would be on any other camera that hasn't got these special toggles. But then you have also the option to put it to the left, to the position where it is in now. And this is the flash off position. So in this position, the flash will never shoot. no matter the circumstances. So it will not misfire, but it will also not fire if you want it to, because it basically overrides the flash settings that you, that the camera wants to use. Then on the far right, we have a flash on, so a fill-in option, which then tells you what flash settings are selected. And in there we have a few different ones. So using the left button, you can browse through a series of different flash modes. So flash on, red eye reduction, night mode, and they all do their own thing. So red eye reduction obviously reduces red eyes by flashing twice. So it flashes briefly once, making your pupil shrink. And then it flashes the second time, so you won't have red eyes. The night mode is basically a mode that is being used for a very long time as well, but it is something that makes you able to actually shoot ambient light in dark situations when you have a subject in the middle and maybe, for example, the sun going down in the background. Because if I would use regular flash, I would overly lit the subject and then make everything behind the subject black. So in the night modus, this will not happen because the flash is flashing just before the shutter is closing. So it won't have enough time to capture all of the light. So what you have with this is that you have a well lit subject, but also ambient light in the back. So again, this is what you can do with this flash on, but then if you just don't want to use it, you put it on flash off. Then on the back side, well, we have the red indicator and we have a blue indicator on the bottom. And the blue indicator just basically tells you the flash situation. So I've just did it, it's now blinking, so it's loading. Then we have another option that we can do, because we obviously have two bottoms here on the top side of the camera. So like I just told you, the left one is to browse through different flash settings, and the right one is for a self timer. So the self timer or selfie mode, or how you want to call it, can be installed manually. So on the display you'll see what you selected, so you can press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can basically select any time period from 1 to 9 seconds. It also illuminates a light on the front that will tell you that this mode is been switched on, and it will count down for you as well. So if I'm through the whole menu, then it's back to, well, 0 again. So then I think one of the craziest and one of the coolest features of this camera is the screen, because we've integrated an OLED screen. So just like the Type-C port, the OLED screen is really something that is merging modern technology with old technology. Obviously it's a very small screen, but we have made a custom interface and we have used a pixel font that basically is using the exact pixels that we want of this screen. So while this is obviously not a high definition screen that you would see on a TV, we have basically checked all the pixels that it has and used the font in a way that it uses exactly these pixels that we want, making us able to basically make a really cool design, but also making us able to make animations. So for example, when I am shutting off this camera, then this camera basically tells you goodbye. So it turns off and then it says bye-bye. The other way around, if I'm turning it on, it also tells you hello. So all the different things on the screen are appearing one by one. If I make a photo that I will just do for you guys, the camera will count 1 in a very funny way, because actually it will flash on the OLED screen and it will count number 2 from the bottom up, which is also just something that merges that old and new technology. So there's also stuff that you won't really see. So obviously the Viewfinder, which is a optical viewfinder consisting of 4 elements. The Viewfinder has a frame and a close focus frame. So it has both the full frame width and also the close focus range frame, which is slightly different. And we have some sensors that we basically use. So if you see the front of this camera, then you have a LiDAR sensor that is behind the dark glass, and we have a viewfinder. And then here on the other side, on the front side, here it's still clear, but in the end it will be red and white. We have on the outside the self-indicator light, and on the inside the light measurement device. So the light measure sensor measures the light, and the LiDAR measures the distance. Other things that we obviously have is the Analogue logo, which is currently in polished aluminium. In the production it will be more frosted, but still we really like the feel. It's very tiny, very thin sliced aluminium that feels really premium and just really good. To talk about premium, the weight of this camera is also something that's really nice, because the camera weighs about 270 grams, somewhere in between 270 to 275 with a battery, and yeah, slightly more with a film roll obviously, but that really makes it feel nicely in the hand, and that's predominantly because of the lens, because the lens is heavy, but also a good lens must be heavy, because you have the glass elements, you have the aluminium barrel, and yeah, you have other things inside that are all metal, because you cannot make plastic gears in a lens obviously. If you open the camera up from the back side, then it's pretty much like you would expect. So we have a room or a chamber where the canister goes with a tooth for the film roll to wind it. Here we have the DX code, so it will read the DX code of the film roll to make it, tell to the film camera what type of film is inside. If the camera isn't loaded with any film that has a DX code, but with some more creative film, then it will also go to ISO 100. So that's by default, that's regular, that's normal. So we do that here as well. And then on the other side, we have a double tooth winder. So it winds from this side, the motor is in here, and it winds the film from this side to that side every shot. So it has one tooth on the front, one tooth on the back, to make sure it grips firmly onto the film and not misses a beat. So if you finish a roll of 24 or 36 photos, then the film obviously rewinds back from this side to this side. Or if you want to switch mid-roll, we have a manual rewind button on the top that can only be, pressed with a pointy object, because that's how you want to do it. You don't want it to sort of happen by accident, because it could ruin some of your photos. In the end, it's also not that big of a problem, because I think if it rewinds, which it will never do, but if in the case with any camera you get this, then you can still wind it forwards again by shooting in the dark. But yeah, this is basically never going to happen with this camera or with any other camera, but I just want to say it. Other than that, I think we have on the bottom side some feet. So we have 4 feet to make the camera stand firmly in its position and to also protect the bottom a little bit. And we have a film window here that is telling you what film is inside, or to make you remember that there is film inside. So yeah, there's basically so many more things to say about it, but not really things that I missed at the moment. I think we have some, here we have an edge under the flash that is basically to tell you without looking where the flash is. So if you have a camera in your hand and you shoot, you usually hold it like this, and then you can feel with your finger, the flash starts here, so I shouldn't block the flash, because then it's not good. So it will flash, but you block it so it doesn't have enough light. I think that covers sort of everything that this camera has to it, but yeah, I think to highlight some of the really cool things, just to make you remember these. Out of the box, this camera shoots crazy good portraits. This camera has a great infinity focus, and I think all in all, the lens really proves himself once you get to shoot with it. Other than that, it's really nice that we have the Type-C port on the bottom, making everyone able to update software along the way. So making it really something durable, not something that, you know, you just use and you like it or don't like it and it's just thrown away. No, we will really try to make some cool software packages that can basically help you to use it the way you want it. But first we really got to finish this. So that is something really cool. The OLED, the animations and everything that we have done is really cool and will really excite a lot of you guys. But yeah, the lens, I cannot talk enough about this lens. I can probably try to take you back to the moment I first saw the portrait that we have shown with you, well, that we've shown to you guys of our very own Sophie. And I'm just in love with that picture. It is although it doesn't even lock focus on the exact right point on her face, the foreground background separation is so nice and the foreground is so crisp in comparison to the soft background that this is everything that you would want from a great 2.8 compact camera, because this separation is what makes this camera a really high quality camera, that makes it something that people can use to make portraits that are really out of this world and that are really quality and are really nice and really nice to print and to hang and to enjoy with all your loved ones or anyone that you want to show them to. So basically, yeah, I cannot just wait to have this into you guys' hand. I mean, everyone works tirelessly to make everything better, not only here in the Netherlands, also back in China. And yeah, I've thanked them, I think, loads and loads of times already, but still, I mean, cannot stress enough how much I appreciate everyone's hard work and dedication, because it is really something amazing. It's really something different. And to hold this and to play with it and to show it, it makes all of us really proud. And yeah, that's it. If you have any questions, if you maybe feel that, yeah, you need to know more or you want to see maybe other things, then you're always free to send us a DM on Instagram or to do something else. I think we would like to ask to do it kindly, because it has been kind of harsh, I think, over the past year with all the criticism. But I mean, I also cannot expect people to be a bit skeptical, because it also was maybe a bit of a long shot. But we're here, the camera's in our hands, we're making beautiful photos with it. Yeah, and it's just amazing. So yeah, just send us a message, a DM, an email, or whatever suits you best, and we will reply as soon as we can. Thanks again for watching this, and yeah, cannot wait to get it in your guys' hands. Ciao.